So a couple of days ago, I released a video comparing Minecraft Optimization Modpacks to see which one would perform best. Now the video was not meant to be a hard comparison at all. It was meant to be a very casual and informal comparison where the only thing I did was install these modpacks, keeping all of its settings default, and then I just checked out what features the modpack came with, and I did a quick FPS check by joining a single player world. Now the video received a ton of positive feedback, but also a lot of criticism of people saying that the comparison was just very unfair. I essentially just wanted to see which modpack would come out on top by using complete default settings. So changing nothing, not even render distance. But by reading the comments on that video, it was clear to me that people do want a hard one-to-one comparison, where we standardize a few things and then see which modpack comes out on top. And that is exactly what we're gonna be doing here today. I'm gonna hard compare 5 optimization modpacks under similar circumstances and settings to see which one comes out on top solely looking at the FPS. Nothing else. Now it should be a very interesting and exciting video, so definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so yet. We're trying to reach to 100,000 subscribers here on the Kasasora channel, and you clicking subscribe would help me out significantly. So before we're gonna start this comparison, let me tell you how everything is gonna go down. In a second, I'm gonna create a brand new single player Minecraft world with a fixed seed. Now that world is gonna have mob spawning disabled, because entities can be very unpredictable and could potentially give a different result depending on how many entities are loaded in at the same time. I'm also going to disable day-night cycle and weather cycle, so that the time and the weather in every single modpack is always gonna be the same. Aside from that, for every single modpack, I will be using the same options.txt file, which means that all the basic settings are gonna be the same. Think about render distance, simulation distance, GUI skill, the FPS cap, if the game is on full screen, if the graphics are on fancy, all of that stuff. It's all gonna be the same across modpacks. Now I've decided to not tweak any settings inside of the mods themselves. That is because I still very much believe that a big part of a performance modpack is the customization and the settings set by the developers. If I would just start changing settings of literally every single mod to match each other, then I feel like it kinda defeats the purpose of comparing these modpacks in general. Settings are a big part of what makes a modpack great, so I will not be tweaking anything there. Now aside from that, we're also not going to use the F3 menu to monitor FPS, because the F3 menu can for some people impact performance. Instead, we're going to use a separate mod called FPS display. Now you might be like, Kasasora, just use the sodium FPS monitor, but that wouldn't work because not every single modpack we're going to check out today has sodium extra installed. So we just can't do that. I'll be adding the FPS display mod to every single modpack. So even if the FPS display mod does impact performance, it will also impact every single modpack I'm about to test out. Now is this comparison perfect? Probably not. But it is at least way more fair and a way harder comparison than what I've done in my previous video. So without any further ado, it's showtime. So once again, just like in the initial comparison video, the first modpack we're gonna check out is simply optimized. The modpack with the least amount of mods. Now let me walk you through the settings that we're gonna change. POV is gonna be on normal for every single pack we're gonna test. The render distance and simulation distance are both going on 12. Brightness will be 50%, GUI skill will be set to 4, full screen will be on, VSync off, max frame rate is gonna be unlimited, and then in the quality settings we're gonna set graphics to fancy, clouds to fancy, weather is fast, leaves are default, particles on, and we're gonna make sure that vignette is disabled for every single one. Now something that is good to keep in mind when diving into this first test is that this modpack uses NVIDIA and more culling. Now adding these two mods were both choices from this modpack developer. In my opinion, it wouldn't be fair to start changing settings here. The decision to install these mods and set these settings the way they're set right now is what makes the simply optimized modpack the simply optimized modpack. Like I mentioned in my previous video, choosing the right mods, that is 50% of the work, but actually setting up all of these mods, that's the other 50%. And tweaking all of those settings too much would just defeat the purpose of a test like this altogether. Now with all of those settings set and applied, we're gonna create a single player world. We're gonna set ourselves in creative. The difficulty is gonna be peaceful. The seed is gonna be subscribe. And here under game rules, we're gonna disable the spawning of any mobs. And we're also gonna freeze time and freeze weather. Let's create the world. Let's go and fly fly to a fixed location, let's stand, look in one direction. Now we'll make sure to not move anymore. This is gonna be our beautiful view for every single mod pack we're gonna test. Like you can see, clouds are moving, the weather is not, the time is not, there are no mobs in sight. This is gonna be our test. Now I'm gonna enable FPS and let's see how much we're getting. So it looks like we are getting a very solid 1300 FPS. Sometimes it drops a little below that. It goes to like 1270, no, 1290 actually. So it seems like it is an average of around 1300. Sometimes it drips like 15 below, sometimes it will be 15 more, but overall we could say a very solid 1300 FPS. Okay, cool. Keep that number in mind. It is time to move on to the next mod pack, which is gonna be fabulously optimized. The most popular optimization mod pack of them all, with almost 1.6 million downloads. Now, fabulously optimized does actually have sodium extra, which allows you to have an on-screen FPS monitor, but because we want to keep this test as fair as possible, I'm also gonna use FPS display for this one. So here we go. Fabulously optimized has booted. Like you can see, the POV is set to normal, and all the other settings are a straight up copy from what we had before. Now, because we have sodium and sodium extra installed, we do have an extra setting here which says max shadow distance. Now, because render distance and simulation distance are both set to 12, I think it is only fair to set this one to 12 as well. For the rest, all of these settings here are the same, and I'm not going to change any settings under one of these categories, as all of these categories are added with a mod. So like you can see, we are in the exact same position. Nothing is different here. I've not moved. I'm looking in the same direction. No mobs, time is frozen, weather is frozen, and you can see we get a very solid 1440 FPS. I mean, it differs a little bit. Sometimes it jumps to 1420, then it goes down to 1350, but it seems like it is stabilizing and averaging around 1400, maybe a little under that. So that is pretty exciting. It does really seem like the extra optimization mods, like sodium extra and more culling, are making a difference here. Of course, those are not the only optimization mods that this mod pack has. Simply Optimized only has 18 mods, while Fabulously Optimized has somewhere in the 40. So there's a big difference there. It's sitting around 1400 FPS, which is very great and very solid, though it is not that crazy. You will not notice it in regular use. Also, do keep in mind that results can very much vary per device. So I would highly recommend doing all of these tests for yourself as well, because a pack that might not have the best performance here could perform really well on your device. Now then, the next mod pack we're gonna check out today is Performium. This mod pack is actually released through a mod-rave organization that I own myself. Like you can see, there I am, MemberCat Studios. Now in my last video, this mod pack came out on top in terms of FPS. But like a lot of people pointed out, it wasn't a fair comparison because I didn't use the F3 menu with this mod, because FPS was displayed on screen by default. Of course, with this hard comparison, we're gonna do it all a little different. So POV is gonna be normal. Of course, all of these settings are gonna be the same. So the same render distance, simulation distance, brightness, even the GUI scale is 4, full screen mode is on, VSync is off, and frame rate unlimited. Now, even though I said I wouldn't change any other settings that you're able to change because some of these optimization mods, I am gonna disable show FPS on screen. Because, like I mentioned before, we're gonna use the FPS display mod for that. So let's join once again the exact same world, and without moving a single inch, you can see we are getting around 1420 FPS on average, I would say. Now, it does drop below the 1400 every once in a while, but it does generally stay above 1400. Sometimes it hits 1450, then it goes down a bit again to like 1410, but overall, it does stay above the 1400 mark. That is a very solid frame rate. Now, it does feel like Performium's FPS is a little bit higher on average compared to Fabulously Optimized, but honestly, it is not that big of a difference. Are you gonna notice the difference between 1400 and 1450 FPS? No, you will most likely not. But if your PC is struggling to get FPS anyway, then it might make a difference. Once again, I strongly suggest you do your own personal testing. Now, a mod pack that was suggested to me a lot in my previous video is Additive. Now, I didn't include this one in my previous video, but because so many people commented about it, I feel like we should give it a shot. So with Additive opened, POV is of course gonna be on normal. All the video settings are, gonna be the same. You're familiar with them now. We're gonna make sure that show FPS is disabled. And let's dive into the same world once again. So let's wait until everything is loaded in and the world has stopped generating new chunks, and we can see that we are sitting around 1350 FPS on average. Sometimes it drips a little above that, so we got around 1360, almost 1370 at some points. Usually it seems to be between 1330 and 1360. Of course, it is FPS. It changes all the time, and sometimes it might have some lows where it all of a sudden drips to somewhere in the 1200s, but usually it is around 1340, 1350, and that's pretty solid. That's solid FPS. Now the last mod pack we're gonna check out today is Remarkably Optimized. This mod pack was also recommended to me a lot in my previous video, and a lot of people thought I should include this one. So with Remarkably Optimized booted, we're gonna make sure POV is normal, all the other video settings are set to the same as well. Once again, we're gonna make sure that show FPS is off, and it's time to dive into the exact same world once again. And without moving a single inch, you can see we get a very solid 1300 FPS out of this mod pack. Sometimes it drops down to 1200, sometimes it reaches 1350, but it is sitting around that range. That is a good average FPS. And with that, we've now tested 5 different optimization mod packs. So what have we learned here today? Well, first of all, if you test these mod packs under similar circumstances, the difference in FPS is not that much. Still, like you could see, there is a difference, but it is by far not as big as suggested in that previous informal comparison video. Now, something I've not at all covered today is the other features that some of these mod packs add. For example, some of the mod packs I showed today had NVIDIA installed. Some of the mod packs I showed today had Iris shaders installed. Some of the mod packs I showed today had some mods installed to add Optifine features, like for example Optifine capes. But not every single one of them had that. And some had mods like Resourceify, which allows you to easily download and install resource packs, data packs, and shader packs without having to leave your game at all. No, today we truly only compared the FPS, without looking at any of the other features. And if you're gonna choose a mod pack, some of these features might be a game changer for you. For example, if you really want NVIDIA, then Simply Optimized is gonna be your way to go, though that pack doesn't have Iris shaders. If you wanna run shaders, you might wanna opt for any of the other ones. And if you want Resourceify, then Performium has you covered. There's just not one best performance mod pack. There is not. So once again, I cannot encourage you more to go out to Modrinf yourself and test out all of these mod packs individually to see which one you prefer most, or just which one runs the best on your PC. I've tested this on my PC with my specs, though if you're running these mod packs on a laptop, the performance might once again be completely different. And that is gonna be it for today. I want to thank you so much for watching. Once again, do make sure to subscribe if you've not done so yet. We're working towards that 100k milestone, and every single time somebody clicks subscribe, we are getting just a little bit closer. Also, don't forget to join my Discord, the Cassasora Universe. Link can be found down below. And thank you so much to my channel members for the incredible support. You guys are truly legends. And then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.